What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to be installing these EBC YellowStuff brake pads on my R56 Mini Cooper S. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stick around. You're going to want to watch this whole video. No matter which Mini Cooper you drive, whether it be a classic or a new one, if you're a DIY type of person, which you are if you're watching this video, check out my Facebook group. It's called Mini Cooper DIY. I'll leave a link to it in the description, or you can just go on Facebook and type Mini Cooper DIY in the search bar and you'll find it. I'll get to the video right now. Okay, the first step, you're going to want to get your car up on jack stands. If you have 4 jack stands, you can do both sides. If you have 1 jack stand, just do one tire at a time. I have 2 jack stands, so I'm going to do one side of the car at once. It's just easier because on a Mini, when you jack it up, it just picks both sides, both tires off the ground at the same time. So I just went ahead and put both jack stands underneath it. It'll just be faster. But I'm going to do the rear first, just so you can see how to do the brake wear sensor, because the brake wear sensor on this car on the front is on the driver's side, and I'm going to show you guys on the passenger side because it's the same exact process on each side of the car. So I'm only going to show you one side of the car just to save time, and you don't have to watch it redundantly on the video. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start those rear brake pads right now. Okay, the wear sensor is this cable that comes around the back of the brake right next to where it says TRV. If you have these Cooper S pad rotors, what you're going to do is you're going to take some needle nose pliers and you're going to very gently pull these out, hopefully without breaking it. But you won't have a camera right in your way while you're doing it, so it'll be a lot easier for you. I have another set of these if these break, so it's not that big of a deal if I break them. In fact, give myself some room here. If you unhook the little nipple in the back, it gives yourself some little more room, or a little more lead with the wire. Alright, and I got it without breaking it. That's what it looks like. At least I think I got it without breaking it. Okay, I had to get out of the sun real quick so I could record this section. Okay, to pull that out, how I did it without breaking it was I put the needle nose pliers on like you saw, and then when I put my finger around the back, just go back and rewatch that part, I was just gently working it side to side and just very gently rocking it back and forth as I was pulling, not jerking it out, but putting firm pressure out until finally it just, once it gave, and it came out. The last time I did my brakes, I did break it, but they're not that expensive, so I would definitely recommend buying new wear sensors before doing the job and having them on hand. But if you don't break them, it's like a lot of people say you should replace them every time. If you don't break it, don't replace it. But buy a set, keep them where you know where they are. I keep all my car parts in the same spot, so if I break one, I just go grab the other one and put it on. It's not a big deal. Okay, next what you're going to want to do is loosen these 2 bolts right here, and they are both 13 millimeters, but you need a 15 millimeter wrench to slide on right here just to hold it in place. I've already broken them loose. Then you take a 13 and just loosen them. Mine's already loose. And do that both top and bottom. I retighten that one, I think. So then you can just go ahead and pull those out. Okay, next you gotta try to get this rotor to come off. Make sure you have your parking brake off. I'm just gonna rotate it and slide it back. Also make sure you have a bungee cord or somewhere to set it, because you don't want to put any tension on your brake line. Just rock it back and forth until it comes out. There we go. I'm just gonna wrap that around my control arm. Connect it on the bottom down here. Let's see if I can get that out of the way. It's not really going to be out of the way, but I'll have to move my camera. It's my dog Buddy in the background. Oh, that was Bella. Okay, now you're going to take note of what your pads look like. You'll see that there's this little ear right there on the one that's on the inside. When you put your new pads on, make sure that that's how you put it on. That's also where your little sensor connects. But it's on the inside one, and the one on the outside doesn't have that ear. But in order to remove them, basically just slide them out. And as you can see, oops, mine are still good, but I'm replacing them because I'm just going with better pads. And that's why I'm not replacing my rotor, but do the same thing on the back. That slides out. And if you were going to replace your rotor, there's 2 bolts on the back of this that you have to take out. You take that off. This is a T50 Torx. You take that off. Your rotor just slides off after that. Put the new one on. Put that T50 back on. Put this back on, and you'll be right back where we are now. But definitely clean your rotor with some parts or brake cleaner. I'm using the O'Reilly's brake parts cleaner. It's just cheap. I'm just gonna let me get a. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I live in the hills, and somebody just honked their Dukes of Hazzard horn. Oops, probably didn't need that much. I just want to get all the old brake stuff off of here. If you're doing new rotors, you're doing this to get the stuff they put on the rotors to keep them from rusting. You want to get that off. But since I'm switching to a different type of pad, I want to make sure that the only thing that's on the rotor is the new brake pad, so it stops better. The new material for the new brake pad. Well, I won't make you watch me wash this whole thing. I won't make you watch me wash this whole thing. Okay, on your rear rotors, in order to compress, normally you can just use a C-clamp and you can compress this. Well, on your rear rotors, because you have a parking brake, at least I think that's why, you need one of these tools. And I'll put a link in that in the description. And I'll also put a link to the wear sensors and the brake pads in the description too. I got mine at my brake pads at Speed Tech Motorsports, so you can just go there and check, get them there. But yeah, you need one of these, and I'm gonna try this setting for. It goes on. This is for all different types. No matter which way you put it on, it's for a different type of brake. So you need to find the one that fits. I think it's these. Okay, so now you're going to want to loosen your master cylinder, your brake master cylinder cap. You don't have to take it all the way off, you just want it so that the air comes out. I'm going to leave that open though. That way I don't forget to tighten this cap. Make sure you don't forget to tighten that cap before you go driving. Here, just to remind me, so that when I go to close that, I go, oh yeah, because of that tool, I have to tighten that cap. And I'm not 100% sure which way to turn it yet, but I'm going to find out right now. I have it on loosen. And that seems to be tightening. Let me see if tightening makes it go the other way. Oh. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, that's tightened. It does not fit in there very well, but so yeah, tightening it, putting your ratchet on tighten definitely seems to be the right direction. Okay, I'm not sure if that's as far as it needs to go, but if it needs to go more, I'll just turn it more. Okay, so now we're going to take our new brake pad and put it back on the same way we took it off. Just slide it in the groove. It comes with the EBC brake grease. I literally have never put brake grease on brakes in my entire life. I always buy it and I say, well, if it squeals, I'll put it on, and I've never had a squeal, so I've never put it on. So I'm gonna do that again today. But if you use it, it comes with the kit, and I'll definitely keep it because I've heard that these might squeal, so we'll find out. Oops. Alright. Go ahead and take the bungee cord off of the caliper now. Get the caliper out of there, or the bungee cord out of there, and check and see if I compress these enough, which it does not appear I did, so I'm going to compress them some more. Getting closer. Now these EBC YellowStuff brakes do require to be seated, or there's a bunch of different names for it. But I'm gonna do a video on how to break them in and all that stuff. So watch for that video. But definitely after you put them on for the first, you're gonna drive the first 200 miles barely using your brakes. You're gonna try to barely touch your brakes before you do even what. That's going to be something you're going to do even before you watch my next video on how to seat them. That's as soon as you put them on, do that. Obviously, do it in a safe area. Did they make it? All right. These come from the factory with blue thread lock on them. So if you have thread lock, I would suggest using it. But I totally forgot to get some. So I'll just do that at a later date. But that's something I absolutely will do. I just didn't buy it today for this. And then make sure you remember to get this camera here. Install your sensor. Installs the same way it came off in the same spot. Just pop it in like that. Then put the little nipple back on. Oops. That holds it. Okay. Now you want to tighten these 13 millimeters that are in the back that hold your caliper on. Since I'm going to be taking mine back off to get to put the thread lock on, I'm not going to really tighten them too much right now. I'm going to get you guys the Torx spec real quick. Okay, according to Bentley publishers, which I have a link to that in the description too, the service manual, it is 26 foot-pounds to torque these, and it's plus or minus 2. So you can be anywhere from 24 to 28, but I'm a machinist, so it's always good to shoot for the actual number when there's a plus or minus. Unless, you know, the manufacturer or whoever wants you to be towards the top or bottom. But I'm gonna go ahead and just tighten them tight because I'll probably drive my car to the auto parts store or to wherever I buy the Loctite at, which will probably be the auto parts store, it's the closest. But yeah, 26 foot-pounds, and that's the rear. Okay, just like on the back, the first step is going to be, let's see, I don't know if this 15 is going to fit. Let me find something that does. Okay, the front's going to be the same, except it's going to be a 17 millimeter wrench. If I can get the slide on there. If you can't get a wrench to fit on there, you can use pliers for that. But then this part is still a 13. Let's go ahead and crack that. Then do the same thing on the top bolt. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove these two bolts by hand once they're loose. Again, make sure you have your bungee cord close by so you can grab it if you need to support this caliper. This caliper is a lot bigger than the rear one, so you definitely do not want to be hanging it off your brake line. Okay, once you pull those off, go ahead and slide the caliper out. You can compress it with a screwdriver first, but you can also just slide it out like that. Then just find somewhere to put it. Okay, I just went ahead and I put the bungee through here, and then I hooked it up on the spring so that with this loose, I can just let it dangle. And it's gonna be fine, it's not hanging off of anything. These pads, remove them the same way as you did the rear pads. You see, mine are actually in really good shape. And it's the same thing, the little ear right here goes on the inside. Make sure you remember that or refer to this video when you're doing it. Again, I'm going to go ahead and clean the rotor with the brake parts cleaner. And do the same thing I did on the back. I'm not going to make you watch me do that on another rotor. I'm just going to spray it and wash it. The front, it is in gear, so you're not going to, it's going to be a little bit harder to get around the caliper because you're not going to be able to just spin it, or the pad holder, whatever this is. So just take care around that part, or remove it with the 2 bolts in the back. Take the caliper off. It'll be pretty easy to do. Okay, so here's the new ones. Are way bigger than the rear ones, obviously. The front ones, I mean. Same size as the, it's the same brake as the OEM brake. It's just a different compound, obviously, or it wouldn't work. So just go ahead and put that in the same spot. And the reason you have to drive real carefully for the first 200 miles, you're wearing that stuff off of the pads. And you're also, you have to, you know, you got to break in your rotor. You got to do a bunch of stuff. So it's actually, the break-in for these is actually 1,000 miles total, but I'm going to do a video on that. It's going to be a how-to. But that's going to take a while because I got to get, you know, like 1,000 miles on my car, so probably 2 weeks. I drive a lot. Okay, on some, I don't remember if it works on this one or not, but on some cars, you can just push this plunger in, or the piston in by hand. And if not, you need a pair of C-clamp pliers like these. Or you can buy an actual tool to do it, but I have the C-clamp pliers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to push it by hand first. Let's see if I can do that, just because it's easier. It does seem to be going a little bit. I just don't know if it's enough. Oh, it's actually really close. I might still need to use the pliers though. I think I was a lot stronger last time I did this. Then once you can get them started, you can actually pull on it a little bit just to get it to see a little bit better. Mine are actually, they're actually going on now. Probably take this C-clamp, or take this bungee out of there now. There we go. Yeah, so you can do it with your bare hand. Or, like I said, take a C-clamp plier, and you're going to set, I'm going to get a bolt in here so I don't drop it, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. That way if you can't push it in by hand, you can still figure it out. Alright, if you can't push yours in by hand, what you're going to do is you're going to take this part and put it inside of the plunger, and you're going to tighten it inside the piston until it's hitting. You're going to come from this direction, obviously, from over here. Let me loosen it. And the reason you need these big C-clamp pliers is because you have to be able to go over the caliper. But once that's in there, you're going to put this side on the other side of the piston, and then you just tighten it, and it pushes it in. It works real easy. It's worked on every car I've ever done it on. It doesn't work on the back, obviously, because you have to turn them, but didn't need it on the front of this. I just used my man muscles, I guess. All right. Put your ratchet on, tighten. Find your 17 millimeter wrench. I think that's what it was. Yeah. Is that on tighten? Oh, yeah. going a lot easier than I thought. Alright, it's not wanting to come off now. I tightened the caliper onto the wrench. I didn't strip it on. Alright, so I'm gonna have to hold it with pliers to tighten it. Okay, so you don't do what I just did. Grab a set of pliers and grip on so that you don't tighten the wrench in there. And I'll get the actual torque specs for you guys right now, so you know what to torque them to. Oh, the bottom one's not even turning. Okay, according to the Bentley service manual, the tightening torque on these two bolts is the same as the back. It's 26 foot-pounds, plus or minus 2 pounds. If you have Brembo brakes, which I'm guessing is the JCW brakes, it's 81 foot-pounds, so a huge difference. And I'm guessing the bolt sizes are probably different than, this is on a Cooper S, so, but I'm just gonna tell you just in case, 81 pounds if it's a JCW. Okay, now make sure you check your levels before you, I still gotta do the other side, so I'm just showing you guys. But check your levels. Do exactly what I just did on the other side of the car. And don't forget to tighten this cap. Okay, like I said, do the same exact thing on the other side of the car. The wear sensor is going to be on the front driver's side. Same as the rear wear sensor on this. If you break it, replace it. It's a good idea to have one. I have a set, just in case I broke them both. You know, you want to have front and rear. They're not expensive. You can order them on Amazon. I will link to those in the description. They're relatively cheap, I would say. And if you, no matter which Mini Cooper you drive, check out my Facebook group, Mini Cooper DIY. I'll link to that in the description as well. Don't forget to check out my friend from Speed Tech Motorsports. Check out his website, speedtechmotorsports.com. I'll leave a link to that in the description. It's for all kinds of performance stuff for your Mini Coopers, Audis, and what's the other one? Volkswagen. And what else do I got? Yeah, that's if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not like this video, give it a thumbs down. Please hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next video.